Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. Out here today at the Pathfinder Outdoor Classroom. And what I wanted to do today was I kind of wanted to show you two kits and give you a side-by-side comparison. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want you to realize that the kit that we design at Self-Reliance Outfitters, that we put the Pathfinder brand on, is nothing new. It's nothing that we invented. If anything, we've reinvented it. We've improved it, made it out of stronger materials, and maybe improved certain aspects of the design. But the ideas for these things are very, very old. And that's really the key to the Pathfinder system in general. You know, we dig up things from the past and we bring them forward and use them in the future. And learning from the past is a very, very important thing to me. And so when I started to design cookware and thought about cookware I wanted to put out on the market with our logo on it, I looked to sets that were made or cookware that was made in the past to get those ideas from. And so one of the things I want to show you today is a cook set that I've had for a lot of years. I'm going to say at least 12 or 13 years, maybe even longer than that. It's actually one of the first stackable, nestable cook sets I ever bought. And it's a U.S. Forest Service cook set. I'll show you the bag. It's marked U.S. Forest Service right on it. And it has a lot of miles on it. But it's got a lot of components similar to cook sets that you've seen stackable other places, made by other companies like Palco, things that Scout troops used to carry on with them, things like that. But it's a little bit more compact as far as the largest pot goes. And it's also got a couple things in it that none of those cook sets I've ever seen had, which was a big inspiration for at least one of the pieces of kit that we developed. So what I'm going to do is a side-by-side comparison, talk about each piece of kit individually after I talk about what came in this kit to begin with originally. Then we'll look at the Pathfinder kit, and we'll talk about improvements, we'll talk about exceptions, we'll talk about substitutions, and we'll talk about how these things compare to the Forest Service cook set. So stay with me, guys. We're going to get started. Okay, so first of all, this is the bag that this cook set came in. It's a little torn and tattered, but it's got the U.S. Forest Service logo right here on the front of the bag. It's made out of heavy canvas. So again, recall that bag later when we're talking about the Pathfinder cook system, okay? One of the things that this cook set came with that is very dissimilar to other cook sets like the Palcos and things that you see sometimes in aluminum is that it came with two steel skillets. And on these skillets, basically you just took these things and spread them out and the handle folded underneath. And it came with a pair of these skillets. And then you would put one handle in off to the side. They don't stack very well with the handle on because the handle is a little bit longer than the skillet is. So you get one in there pretty easy. Put another one inside of that, throws your stacking off because of that handle. So you just stack this one inside like this and put the handle off to the side in the set. But it came with two of these steel pans, and the caveat to this thing was that they had folding handles. And I still use this quite a bit today. The next thing it came with is it came with two different size bush pots. So you had a large bush pot with a bail, and that bush pot had a lid. And then it came with a smaller bush pot with a lid that's stacked inside of each other. You can remove the bail on this one to stack it. I'll show you that in a minute. Then it came with the typical, what I'm going to call a Morse pot, giving respect to Morse Kahansky because he's one of the guys who showed this pot in a video where he stacked survival gear inside this pot. So a lot of people have referred to these as Morse pots. And it's basically just a vintage coffee pot that's got batwing handles on it and a bail. And this actually came with this cook set. And I have several other cook sets that are made by other companies that have this almost exact same coffee pot within those cook sets. This is a common coffee pot of the time. Now, it came with 4 coffee cups, all of them being aluminum that would nest inside the coffee pot, very easily like that. It came with 3 bowls that were fairly large, probably had 4 in the original set. And it came with 3 plates. Because it had 4 cups, I'm assuming it probably had 4 plates and 4 bowls, and some of them may be missing. And then it came with one larger bowl that I have to assume was a mixing bowl for whoever was cooking the food to use to mix things in like doughs and batters. And all of those things nested inside each other inside the system. And so the way this worked was, if I can get it right here, all of the lids go in the very bottom of this bag. And the skillets, one handle was folded and placed down. The other was left off temporarily. And they were stacked in on top of the lids. Like so. And they may have taken both of those handles off, but one handle fits in there pretty good, just like that. Now, you can take this bail off of this pot, and it makes it sit directly in here very, very easily. And these bowls sit directly inside that, with the coffee pot inside that, just like this. And this bowl was placed on top. So you take this bail and put it on the inside. I'm going to put this in the bag. Again, you can see this bag's not much bigger than this cookware. So that's typical of this type system to be tight in the bag. Then I usually took this handle here, tucked it down in the side, as far down as I could get it. Just like that. And then the mixing bowl went on top, upside down, to kind of create a top, and then it had a string closure in it that I've replaced now with paracord because it was like a shoelace and it was rotten. And so that was your traveling cook set for a group of forestry workers, all right? So let's set that aside for a minute. Now let's talk about the Pathfinder set, okay? First of all, folding handle skillet. Same style, handle folds under. This one being made out of stainless steel instead of carbon steel, with an extra thick bottom on it to help with heat dissipation within the metal. And the only advantage to stainless steel over carbon is that it's not going to rust. You can cook really well in stainless steel if you understand how to do it and you get it nice and seasoned up over time and you grease it a little bit before you cook. It works fantastic. So we've got one of those in this cook set, and we're currently developing a 10-inch skillet. This one's 8-inch, similar to the ones that were in that set. The difference is we have a lid for our skillet, and there are no lids in this set for these skillets. You can use the largest bush pot lid, and it works fairly well, but it's not a perfect fit. This lid's made to be a perfect fit. And then we also developed a rack that can be set inside that skillet for braising. So you have a braising rack. Now, because you have a recessed lid here, you can also use this very similar to a Dutch oven if you wanted to stack coals on top as well as cooking from the bottom. So you have an all-inclusive system there in one skillet that works really, really well. 2 bush pots, not dissimilar from this set. One large, one small. This one being about the size of the Morse pot or the coffee pot itself with a lid. And so this is a 2-quart bush pot. And it has also a rack that fits inside of this, like this, so that you can turn this upside down in the fire, or sideways I should say in the fire. And you can use this like a reflector oven, or you can put the lid on and use it for an actual oven, like a convection oven, by putting this in the coals. By taking the lid off and putting it outside the fire, you can use it as a reflector oven and take advantage of convection that way. So again, you have a more multifunctional piece of kit than just a coffee pot would be. A larger bush pot, this is a 120-ounce bush pot, exactly the same in every aspect except the size. And there's also a rack that's designed to fit inside that to make it the same multifunctional type of reflector oven or convection oven. Now, we have a heavier rack as well that can be used with this cook set that you can actually put over the coals to cook directly on top of. Or you can fold this rack as well and put it inside the large bush pot to use it as a convection oven, or excuse me, to use it as a reflector oven. But you can't put the lid on now to use it as a convection oven. So this is just an afterthought as far as the set goes, but it works with the set and it's one of our Pathfinder products. But with the set, this rack allows you to shut the lid and take advantage of this in two ways to use it as an oven. So you have two bush pots, and again, same situation here with the way these work. One bush pot stacks inside the other bush pot. Both bush pots sit inside the skillet. We'll set our lids to the side here for a minute, and our rack to the side for a minute. Now, what we also have is we have a French press, and this French press will nest inside this set. It's going to stick up a little bit, but that's not going to matter, obviously, because you're going to put stuff on top of this later on if you want to, or you could just close it in like that. But you're going to have it in a bag, and that's my point. It's not going to matter. And this French press is created so that you can actually take this French press apart and just use this as a standalone coffee pot for cowboy coffee, if that's what you want to do. It has a pouring spout on the front of it, and it's 48 ounces. Yeah, 48 ounces with measurement markers on the inside. Or you can use it as a French press the way it was designed. Use it for French press type coffee as well. Or you could use it for a drinking mug if you wanted to, depending on how much coffee you drink. Now, we also have plates and bowls. And the plates and bowls are very dissimilar from the ones that were in that 4-service cook set in size. However, they're created to, number one, nest with this cook set. And number two, if you look at, I'll try to put a photo of it up here on this video. In about 1940, 50, somewhere in that time frame, Abercrombie and Fitch's catalog, on one side of the page, there is a nested cook set, similar to a Palco type cook set or Boy Scout cook set. Beside that, there are plates and bowls made of stainless steel that look almost exactly like these two. So all of this stuff, again, is developed or created or found from other existing sets from the past. And we've just brought them forward and made them functional again in the same way. 2 plates, 2 bowls, usually what I put in my kit. This is not really a 4-person kit for me, but you can obviously add to this and make it a 4-person kit. The one thing this kit does not have inside of it right now is it does not have cups. You can nest a cup inside this French press if you take it apart. You can nest a 26-ounce cup in there if you took it apart. My plan in the future is to come up with a few other items that will go with this cook set. One of them being some type of stainless steel coffee cup, and the other ones being some type of a larger mixing bowl and a larger skillet. However, I have a bag here, and this bag is made by Badger Claw, and this entire cook set fits inside this bag. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pot out, drop the plates in the bottom, put this here. These are going to go over the top just like this. If you did not have the coffee pot in there, you can put them in just like that, or you can put the coffee pot on top. It's just going to stick up a little higher, but still nowhere near the top of the bag. It's really kind of up to you how you do that. Then you have to contend with these racks and lids. So generally I'll put the 2 racks in the very bottom. The skillet rack underneath that, because it has legs, a standoff, it'll stand above those 2 racks. The lids, I put the 2 bush pot lids underneath the skillet lid because it's domed. So they sit right underneath that flat, just like that. And then you can take the entire rest of the set, basically, take the skillet and drop it down inside, take the rest of the set, drop it into that, fold your handle down inside, and you can close all of this up on top. Definitely a little bit of a chore here with this oilcloth to get it pulled all the way cinched down. But once you put a little meat into it, you'll get her done. And so that is the Pathfinder style cook set next to the 4-service cook set. And you can see that there's a difference in height, and that main difference in height comes from that large mixing bowl on top. If you took that mixing bowl out of there, you would end up very close in height between the two Cooksets. So again, you know, looking at the past, looking at what people used in the past, going by that old saying of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you can improve on something, make it a little bit better by doing certain things to it, by all means, I would say do that. And that's what we try to do. If you just have to recreate it, then that's what you do. Now, that's an example of how our Cookset components were created based off of those nesting Cooksets from the U.S. Forest Service and other entities. It's no different than the things like the M40 Cookset, which was designed after the M44 aluminum Swedish Cookset and made in stainless steel. And the improvement was a stainless steel windscreen instead of aluminum. And soon to come, the M34 Swiss Officer's Canteen, which is also going to be completely stainless steel with a stainless steel cup and batwing handles, but it will look not dissimilar in any way, shape, or form from the original M34. So we're just bringing something from the past forward, recreating it, improving on it a little bit, and representing it to the outdoor community so that we don't forget about these great things that worked so well in the past. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you have to do is advance it. And that's what we're doing at the Pathfinder School, and that's what we're doing at Self-Reliance Outfitters, and that's what I always wanted to do with the Pathfinder brand. Guys, I appreciate you joining me today for this video, and I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business. For all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends, I thank you very much for your views, and I'll be back to another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.